All right, we'll go ahead and get this committee meeting underway. We're going to skip down to Senate Bill number 2684. Senator McCon is going to present. He has another meeting to go to, so we'd let him go first. Senator McCon, Senate Bill 2684.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill is pretty simple, and all we did was take the Children's Promise Act that we passed in the last few years. I believe we passed it out last year. And there's a line in there where we're designating who can actually certify the organization. All we did was add the Department of Education as an option. You can still use any other organization, but we just added Department of Education in as an additional certifying so that we have that option for our people. And I'd entertain questions, Mr. Chairman.
Questions? Seeing none. Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All
Thank you,
opposed?
Chairman.
The ayes have it. Going to House Bill number 390, the Historic Property Income Tax Credit bill. This is revising a provision that allows, so when you do the project, you designate whether you want the to take a credit or a rebate, and it's $1 for dollar on a tax credit. If you do a rebate, they take 70% of the value. And what this is allowing you to do is if you've opted for the credit and you've gone through the project, it's got a 10-year carry forward period on it. If you decide you want to take the rebate, they go back, it allows the Department of Revenue to go back and reassess the value of it. They would do the 70% value, reduce the amount of credit you've already taken, and then give you the rebate on the project is what the explanation I've received from Department of Revenues. Does that sound about right? Okay, so that's the explanation of the bill. It just allows them to, if they've elected for a credit and want to take a rebate, it just reschedules it and they reduce the amount of the entire project to the 70% rate and then reduce the credit that's already been taken and then give the remaining balance. All right, motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next is Senate Bill number 2011. Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 2011 deals with motor vehicle sales tax. Currently, we do not charge a sales tax if you transfer title to a vehicle to an immediate relative. Last year, we added a payable on death title and also exempted sales tax from a transfer based on the death of the owner. This bill would allow for an owner of a vehicle to transfer title to a trust for estate planning purposes, to a LLC that they are a member of or corporation that they're a stockholder in, or vice versa from those entities. And it's a non-cash transaction. It's a transaction where the owner, the driver of the vehicle remains the same. It's just allowing someone to move those among entities that they have without triggering a sales tax event. And that's an explanation of the bill.
Are there any questions? All right, seeing no questions. Senator Filligan, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm wondering, does this have to be a solely owned LLC or partnership?
It does not. You just have to be a member of it or a shareholder in the entity.
Not a majority.
Not a majority either. That's correct.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, the motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next bill, Senate Bill 2018.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 2018 deals with sales tax as well. Currently, we have on the books a wholesale sales tax for beer distributors. We also had this for wine and spirits that we removed last year in the ABC warehouse bill. The way this works is a beer distributor will receive the beer from the manufacturer. And then when they in turn sell it to the retail stores, convenience stores, grocery stores, they charge them a sales tax at that point on the wholesale cost, which the distributor then pays to the Department of Revenue. And then the end retailer charges sales tax on all of the goods and services that they sell and net it against what they already paid as a wholesale tax. This is an antiquated way of doing things from the 60s when things were more on a cash basis. It used to be on gas, again, wine and liquor. Every other one has been eliminated except for this one. And so we would just be eliminating that. So the retail sales tax on beer will be the in sale only.
Senator Blackman for a question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So you're saying this is just it's going to be neutral because they're offsetting it when they sell it for the wholesale price?
You mean as a sales tax received to the state?
Yes.
Yes, because regardless of whether beer gets stolen or lost, they're still netting it against the sales tax from all goods that they sell. So there should never be an event where it would be the same as if you were charging a wholesale tax on candy bars. It just happens to be on beer, and it's just a holdover from the 1960s. So the net sales tax.
Revenue neutral.
Revenue neutral. That's
Thank
correct.
you. Title sufficient to pass.
Any other questions? Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is this similar to the ABC tax when a retail permit holder buys from the state and pays sales tax? Then when they sell that back out, which is going to be at a profit, you would think they have to remit sales tax the second time, but they're able to take a credit?
That's correct, which we eliminated last year.
Okay.
But yes, it's the same.
Thank you.
And this is less work for the state, the distributor, and the retailer.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none for a motion?
Title sufficient to pass.
Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We're going to skip 2180. Bring that up next meeting. Senate Bill 2181 is the distinctive license tag for the 2022 Ole Miss baseball team. That's the standalone bill like we did last year. That's an explanation of the bill. Are there any questions? Senator Chasnoff for a motion. Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Senate Bill 2448 will be an omnibus tag bill that will add anybody's request they may have going forward. So if you would, please get any car tag requests to Ian so he can compile a list. But that's pretty much explanation of the bill. We'll put a reverse repealer. Just have a reverse repealer in it. Yeah, I'm gonna make an amendment that we add a reverse repealer to keep it alive to the end of session. Are there any questions on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Are there any other questions on the tag bill? Seeing none for a motion.
Title sufficient to pass, committee sub.
Motion is title sufficient to pass committee sub. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next bill is Senate Bill 2482. This was brought to us by our friends at Department of Revenue. This just simply allows them to issue liens on vehicles electronically. Does not require, it just gives the Department of Revenue the option to electronically notify lien holders on titles when liens are placed. So Senator Jordan for a question.
Still got me on.
I'll let Jan Craig come up and answer your question, Senator.
I'm sorry, I
Thank
couldn't
you.
hear the
Could you
question.
speak in the microphone where she could hear you, Senator?
Just out of curiosity, what happened if there's a mistake in the electronic device where the information doesn't come out exactly the way it should?
We still have the option to correct that. It's not a final determinant. I mean, it is, but there was still an option to correct it, just like there is on a paper title now. You could still do a correction, say if the name was misspelled or something like that. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, whatever the situation may be.
Yes, sir. It can still be corrected. This just eliminates the paper transfer between the department, lien holders, individuals, where if a lien holder, if the title transfers, there's a new lien holder, they can do that electronically instead of having to store paper. It eliminates paper on our side also.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none for a motion. Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next bill, Senate Bill 2681. And I ask our friends from MDA to come up and give us a little brief description.
Hello, we just need a few repealers extended on some of our programs. First is the Advantage Job Program. That repealer it expires this year. We use that in conjunction with Inflex to whatever makes us more attractive to the companies when we recruit them. Then the MMEIA definitions are also in this bill that is set on a repealer. Base enhancement language is in that bill as well. We need those definitions extended. And then Growth and Prosperity Program that affects a lot of our counties in the Delta and Southwest Mississippi. We need some, the repealer on that extended.
Okay, and that's the gap language. I think Senator Chasnall was going to make an amendment to, you wanted to. It's this one, I believe, this. Yes, ma'am. So that's explanation, just extend the repealers and it extends them to 2027. I'll recognize Senator Chasnall for the amendment to add the.
This is something that's been requested by our Delta counties to help them. And if the annualized unemployment rate in a Growth and Prosperity County falls below 150% of the state's annualized unemployment rate for 3 consecutive calendar years, and less than 30% of the population of the county is at or below the federal poverty level for 3 consecutive years, according to the most recent official data compiled by the United States Census Bureau, the tax exemptions authorized under this chapter may not be granted to additional business enterprises.
All right. You've heard the amendment. Are there any questions on the amendment? Senator Blackman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So you're saying that basically in the Delta, if some enterprise were trying to come there, that they would not be able to utilize the benefits of what's being offered in other areas based upon the poverty rate?
This is an amendment that was requested by the Delta Council and leaders in the Delta region. I defer to the young lady from MDA who can probably explain it better than I can, but it is something that would benefit an area of our state which has been historically depressed financially. And I think Senator Jordan and I would both like to see the area of the Mississippi Delta benefit. Sarah, can you explain it better, please?
Yes, ma'am. The repealer in general extends the availability of the program to approve those projects. So if a county qualifies as a gap county, if it is below the federal poverty rate, but to be exempt from the gap program, if you're doing better, which is the whole intent of the incentive, the language of the statute had been a little bit ambiguous, and the Delta communities and the gap communities believed that it meant that for 3 consecutive years, you had to be, below that threshold, that poverty threshold. And we had been interpreting it, and the AG's office had interpreted it as the most recent year. So we're giving kind of the benefit of the doubt and what they felt the intent was and extending that to a 3-year period instead of just that one snapshot.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Chasnow.
Senator Horn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would this amendment be retroactive?
Not as I understand it.
You're sure?
That's up to y'all.
It would be the effective date of the act.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any other questions on the amendment? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment, say aye. All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Are there any other questions on the bill? Seeing none, for a motion. Thank you. Motion is title sufficient to pass committee sub. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. The last bill, Senate Bill 2692. This is a a bill that's just basically some bond cleanup language that we're going to eliminate some bonding authorization we've already given mostly for IHL projects and some other state agencies that they would, we gave them the ability to bond. And since we have some capital expense money laying around, this is a way that we can kind of clean up some of this debt where they won't take any new debt out right now. We can pay cash for the remaining balance of these projects. I'll kind of give you the gist of what the bill does. Sections 1, 2, 3, and 4 eliminates it reduces the bond authorization issued to the agencies, and it actually recreates a fund in section 5 to place new monies in that fund. Section 6, 7, and 8 are reducing the bonding for projects that are already under construction that have not yet finished. And in section 9, it creates a new fund that will be created to pay for those projects. And section 10 funds the money into those section 9, that new account that's been made. So basically, we're just taking the opportunity for them to take out bonds, and we're giving them the cash to fill that with, to backfill it with. We did it for IHL and community college projects. And that goes all the way through section 14 for the community colleges. Section 15 reduces the bond authorization for projects that have already been completed and there's a balance left over in the authorization, so they no longer require those bond funds, so we're reducing the amount. Same with section 16 and 17. Those are projects that have been completed, and there's in one, there's $3,000, another's $18,000. We're just basically taking out the authorization and reducing it to the amount that was used. Section 18 repeals the issuance of a bond for construction of a road fund, and then creates a new account and puts capital expense money into it in section 20. The only amendment I've got is just a reverse repealer. It's right now it's from and after passage, but we want to just keep it alive as an option. It's about $74 million, I believe, is what the trade-off is in new debt and paying cash for these projects. That's an explanation of the bill, and I'll do an amendment at the appropriate time. Senator Horn, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is it, this is not a list of all of the unissued bonds that are on our books.
No.
Could we get a copy of a complete copy of the unissued bonds?
Yes, we'll ask for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will go ahead and make the amendment for the reverse repealer to keep the bill alive and leave it out there. We can continue to work on the bill. If there's other bonds or any other projects out there we need to add, we'll add it. We'll have time to add it, but motion is a reverse repealer. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Any further questions, Senator Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On section 15, those projects where it's reducing the authorized amount to the issued amount, are those projects closed? Are those finished?
Yes. My understanding, those projects are done, and there's a balance left in the authorization that is not needed.
Thank you, Mr.
So we're
Chairman.
just reducing that amount. Any other questions? Motion is title sufficient to pass committee sub. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Oh, we got, I think we got one more bill added. Yeah. Senate Bill 2697. Becky will hand out a copy of it. It was left off the agenda. Just trying to keep you in the 30 minutes. Oh, yeah. I didn't see you over one. I'm sorry. Here. I won't. All right. Does everybody have a copy of the bill? All right, everybody's got a copy of the bill. I'm going to recognize Senator Carter to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the horizontal well severance tax incentive legislation, and what it does is it extends the repealer. It was originated in 2013, and then the repealer was extended again in 2018. And now we're doing it again for another 5 years. And basically what this does is it incentivizes we have an Australian company in Southwest Mississippi that's got 100 million invested in infrastructure right now. And what it does, it reduces the severance tax to 1.3%. And once they get to where they're at cost, then the severance tax goes back up to 6%. That's what it does. I'll be happy to entertain any questions.
Senator England, you have a question?
I do. I have just a few questions. I think it's a good bill. And I think Senator Carter, you can probably clear this up. Number one, you mentioned an Australian company. When they drill in the southern hemisphere, does the drill go in opposite direction or does it go the same as ours in the northern hemisphere? Do you know?
I'm not an expert on horizontal drilling, vertical drilling, none of that. So I couldn't tell you, sir.
Well, you may be able to answer my next question. It's my last question until maybe on the floor. But sometimes I get horizontal and vertical mixed up. Can you show me what the horizontal drilling? Can you motion that for me so that I can know what you're talking about? If you would rather just wait until just after the committee meeting, we can do that. But I would appreciate you following up with me on that one.
All right.
So it's all about the attack angle when you were talking about horizontal drilling. So I'll have to get some more further information on that. There may be a YouTube video for you.
Any other questions?
Sure, there probably is. I have a motion when proper.
Go ahead.
I would move title sufficient to pass.
Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All opposed?